Welcome to May the 31st. I'll start with 2017, then 2016, then 2015. Stay afterwards, see if anybody's around. Have a chat. We'll see what happens. Okay, so from 2017. Some things should not happen, but they do. Comedian Kathy Griffin showed a mock-up of Donald Trump's decapitated head. It was just as funny as when HBO did the same for President Bush on Game of Thrones. I would not wish the same for Obama, but then I'm just a right-wing conservative. Griffin apologized. Apparently it seemed okay in her head. Meanwhile, tennis great Margaret Court is being savaged by left-wing activists for saying she feels that marriage is between a man and woman. Court said that after facing Qantas taking her point of view for granted and campaigning for a different view. Some activists are demanding that Margaret Court Stadium's name be changed, saying Court is a homophobe. But Court is the greatest female tennis player in history, and her viewpoint is not homophobic. She accepts civil unions. However, gays are murdered by the government in Saudi Arabia, and yet there are no calls to rename Etihad Stadium. His names are known throughout history. Ozymandias, or Ramesses II, was the greatest pharaoh, ruling an estimated 66 years. He came to power in 1279 BC on this day. His kingdom had been beset from the north and south, but by the end he had 100,000 warriors to do his bidding, and feared no one. Also, on this day, in 455 AD, an overindulged Roman emperor was stoned to death by his people while fleeing Rome. Petronius Maximus had been given great honors at a young age. In a drunken gamble with the previous emperor, Valentinian III, Maximus had lost and given the emperor a ring as surety. Valentinian used the ring to seduce Maximus's wife, and so Maximus did the manly thing and joined with a eunuch to poison the emperor's mind against a stalwart of the emperor. Then he convinced friends of the dead stalwart that the emperor was responsible for the death of their friend. He then married the late emperor's widow. It had all gone so well until he upset the Vandal king, who decided to lay waste to Rome. News of the impending invasion panicked the population, and 2 weeks before Rome fell, Maximus was stoned to death. Continuing on from 2017. In 1669, claiming he was getting bad eyesight, Samuel Pepys recorded the last event in his diary. He lived well for another 33 years, but was very busy with affairs of state. His diary is a 1,000,000-word account over a decade of events in London. It was published some 150 years later. In 1813, Lawson, Blaxland and Wentworth crossed the Blue Mountains from Sydney. Trains are much better now. One of the largest naval battles of all time happened on this day in 1916. The German Navy squared off against the UK at the Battle of Jutland. It was indecisive. Some 44 battleships, 28 UK out of 250 ships in total, 151 for the UK. UK lost more, including 3 battle cruisers of 14 ships, to Germany's 1 battle cruiser of 11 ships. The UK lost over 6,000 sailors' lives, but UK still ruled the waves, and Germany failed to break the blockade. In 2010, Turkey encouraged a terrorist organization, the IHH, to attempt to break an Israeli blockade of Gaza. Israel's sole interest was to prevent weapons being sent to terrorists in Gaza. IHH seemed to want to send weapons there. IHH claimed the ships carried only medical supplies, but Israel had not blockaded but facilitated the delivery of humanitarian goods. Israel sent a commando unit to prevent gun running. Some of the humanitarians IHH armed themselves and fought against the commandos. The blockade held. Later, Egypt would also blockade Palestinian terrorists, and the protests ceased.